So, I've reviewed a few "Help, I'm stuck in a fantasy world and can't get out" stories. Quite a few, actually. What can I say? It seems like a pretty popular topic for light novel authors right now. Maybe it's because the fantasy of escaping a boring life and going on an adventure is particularly appealing. Or maybe it's just an easy way to create relatable characters with superpowers. Anyways, today, to change things up, I thought I'd review a story where the characters have the opposite problem. Coming from a fantasy world, they get stuck on Earth, lose their mystical powers, and they go from trying to save/conquer the world to working part-time jobs and trying to scrape by. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Devil is a Part-Timer. The world of Aunt Isla was at war. Hordes of demons led by the great Devil King Satan flooded across the land, conquering all in their path. Then, just as all looked to be lost, a peasant girl, Amelia, arose to become a hero, and with her sword, a better half, drove the demons back from whence they came. Then, in the final confrontation between the hero and the Devil King, Satan opens up a portal and flees to another world, with the hero following after him. This world happens to be Earth, specifically in modern-day Japan, and as it turns out, it's kind of hard to collect magical power on Earth. As a result, Satan and Amelia have to give up on their original plans and instead just try to make sure they can get food and shelter. Satan gets a job at McDonald's? Gee, I wonder what that's a reference to. And Amelia starts working at a call center. We follow their stories from there with all the greasy food, money scrounging, and occasional angel attacks it contains. A quick note about naming before I start this. Most of the characters in this story use two separate names. Their Aunt Isla names and their "let's not freak everyone out on Earth" name. As going around on Earth with a name like Satan or Lucifer would cause more than just a few raised eyebrows. For the purposes of this review, I'll be using the Earth names, which means I'll be calling the Great Demon King Satan Mao. So, despite being the Devil King and all, Mao is a kind, hard-working, and goofy young man when we see him on Earth. He seems perfectly content with his new life as a fast food worker and takes pride in doing his job well. Mao still talks about conquering the world, but the first step of his grand new plan is to rise through the ranks at McDonald's, so world conquering won't be happening anytime soon. In contrast with his relaxed view of things, the hero Amelia is a good deal more uptight and could loosely be called a tsundere. We hear a great many times how she still hasn't forgiven Mao and is planning to slay him, but she progresses towards that goal about as quickly as Mao progresses towards taking over the world. Rather, something resembling a friendship grows between the two of them, albeit a friendship with a lot of whining, cutting remarks, and sarcastic comments. Filling out the rest of the cast, we have Ashia, a former demon general, now house husband to Mao, and the subject of much fan art and fanfic, and Chio, a spunky high schooler, co-worker to Mao at McDonald's, and the canon love interest of the series. Also, there's several others who would entail spoilers to talk about. Suffice to say that this cast is not lacking in interesting characters. Devil's a Part-Timer has a knack for making the most mundane things interesting. I never thought I'd care about the inner workings of a fast food restaurant. But Mao's enthusiasm for his work is contagious. I easily got caught up in his drive to be a model employee and get his treasured full-time position. I even found it made me more empathetic towards restaurant workers in my own life. I also found many of his struggles very relatable, as I think many students living on a tight budget would. It was nice to laugh at someone else having issues with shoddy housing, a mostly empty fridge, and a lack of basic appliances. Now, on to the more mystical elements of the story. I do appreciate how the series has a larger, overarching plot instead of just being pure slice of life. Factions from Aunt Isla continue causing problems for Mao and Amelia, and within that, some element of mystery emerges. It appears that there is a greater power pulling the strings, both for their past conflict and the emerging ones. This forces some of the characters to abandon their preconceived notions and allows for some great character development. Unfortunately, Devil is a Part-Timer has a plot structure that is a bit too predictable. The first several volumes all run like this. Slice of life start to the volume, Some hints of a problem start to emerge. A discovery is made. Oh no! Someone came over from Aunt Isla and is being a pain in the neck. Mao and or Amelia deal with said pain in the neck. Pain in the neck either joins with our protagonists or goes back to Aunt Isla, and rinse and repeat. It wouldn't be too bad if these arcs had differing lengths, but they all take one volume, which means that you can have a fairly precise idea of how long it's going to take to resolve any given conflict. This takes just a bit of the tension out of the story. On a more minor gripe, I really do wish Mao and Amelia could be a bit less whiny around each other in the later volumes. Their relationship was kind of funny at first, but I feel it takes a bit long to progress, and occasionally takes on the tone of little kids squabbling. Actually, for that matter, I feel like most of the character relations could advance a bit quicker. I mean, hell, the one between Chio and Mao often feels like it's not moving at all. Devil is a Part-Timer is a nice change of pace for fantasy fans who are tired of getting stuck in another world, or for slice of life fans who want a setting outside of high school and without moe. It's also relatively easy to get legally, as Yen Press has done a nice job on its translation and is releasing about 3 volumes a year. I'd say while it's hardly a must-read, I'd be happy to recommend it as a fully decent series. For alternate reading recommendations, I would suggest either Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which has all the same fantasy slice of life and comedy stuff, just minus the overarching plot, or Defense Devil, which has a rather similar attitude towards demons, angels, and heroes. Anyways, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this review. Cheers!